you know, as all of you know, that I was born June 1622 in a little town called, you won't believe this, Purgatory. Grew up in a place where there was no running water, no electricity, no gas. It was just plain house, and you make do. Well, as I grew up, just before school, and that's when I was 5 years old, we all had chores to do. We're four brothers. We all had chores, and before I would go to school in the morning, my chores was to take the animals out, whether it was sheep or turkeys, we were raising some each year, take them out to pasture to feed them, to have their full, and then I would go to school. And that would be the morning, and in the afternoon, go back again, I had my chore again. Whatever I had to do, as small as I was, we all had chores. We grew up with that. Taking whatever was said to us, whatever we had to do, and we done it. Or else, like I said before, we had no water, no running water, no gas, no electricity, and no bathrooms. Of course, we're just like animals. We go out in the field and relieve ourselves. And a lot of time we had to hide because there was people, you know, going around. Of course, we trying to hide anyway. But that was some fun. Probably, even up to today, I'm not the person that would shut up or sit still. And I'm still a little bit today, as old as I am. 98. And I was always on the go. Always on the go, and get hurt. I would climb trees, throw rocks, and do a lot of things, nonsense things, you know.
For a bit of context, Italy in 1922 had just seen the rise of a fascist movement led by Benito Mussolini. Living under a dictatorship would eventually have a lasting impact on Alfred's life.
So as we grew up, I finished fifth grade school, and that was the only class that was available in that town. And if I wanted to go any higher than that, I would have to move into the city, big city, to get more education. And the education that I got over there, and really the school was one room. And I remember that we had one book, the reader. That was it. That's all you got. And you pass it on to the next kid. Well, the only thing I knew that another world existed, because they don't want to teach you that, you know. They want to keep you under control, under a dictatorship. He had a geography map. I remember he took it out and he said, well, this is the world, the map of the world. And he put it back away. That's the only time I ever saw it. So the world outside of the town and little city, I didn't even know anything about it. So now, as I grew up, of course my three brothers were grown and they were doing bigger chores because we had quite a bit of land. Now the land was acquired over there by my father being away in foreign land to accumulate maybe some money, send back, and my mother would buy land. So we had quite a bit of land. We lived whatever the land provided for us, that's what we lived with. Because the only thing that we needed was salt. And that was controlled by the government. Salt, very dear. And tobacco, but we didn't smoke, so that was okay. So the town was a little store, Mama Papa store. The only thing they had is a few pounds of rice and a sack of rice and some pasta and salt and tobacco, cigarettes, whatever other people were smoking. That was the town. And church, of course, the church. And if you wanted anything else, you had to go way other places, other cities. And at the time as I was a child, we had no roads there, none whatsoever, just trails. So anyway, growing. Time went by. So finished my school, and now I have to work on the farms too, like the others. 4 brothers, and my mother was by herself. She's a little bitty woman. And my mother was mean, just as mean. And to be honest with you, I took after her. I'd take no nonsense from no one up till today. And that's sad, you know. I should calm down, right? 98, what do you want? Anyway, time comes that my father came back to Italy. We had a lot of land now. We could live nicely with the land that we had. He wanted to retire, finally, because he was tired. He wanted to be with the family. As we grew up, one of my brothers was almost time for him to be drafted into the army. And Italy at that time was in war, was at war. And he didn't want to go in the army, you know. My God, you know, they shoot bullets over there. Anyway, so he talks my father to come back to the United States and to have one of my brothers, the oldest one, come over here. They done that. My father came back, and he says, okay, the first boy came, and then he said, well, what about my brothers over there in Italy? My father said, well, okay, the next one, and that's it. So the next one. So that was the second brother. There was 2 brothers and my father's over there in the United States now. They're working. Then they liked it over here. They started to work. So they started talking to my father and said, well, look, we have 2 brothers over there now, and Mom. It's either we all go back to Italy, which you don't, it's not that great. Although we lived with the land, it was fine. We were considered middle class that way. But they said, it's either over there or let them all come over here. Some of my father, boy, he was pretty mad. He said, okay, they can come.